Let's go to the Big 12, Garrett. I'll let you start with your over pick here. I think the two most obvious over picks, for me at least, you took one of them and I ended up taking the other one. So I'll let you start with one of them.
Yeah, I'll take the Oklahoma State Mean Orange, or whatever we're going to call them now. I don't know how we're supposed to refer to them now that it's basically the Mean Green have traveled their way up. Oklahoma State, I think, is going to be massively improved from last year. What was their number this year? It was
5.5.
5.5. Yeah, they're gonna make
Yeah,
a bowl
and the
game.
over's minus 158. So that obviously
Yeah.
the public agrees that that's way
Right.
too low.
And I think it's a good take because, again, it's a good coach in Eric Morris. You're bringing your quarterback with you. You're bringing your running back with you. That duo was insane at UNT. And I still don't really believe in the Big 12 as a conference. I don't think that they're, such a strong conference. If he made this jump and he was at Oklahoma State and everything is the exact same, but they're playing, in the SEC or the Big Ten, I don't think you see the same level of success that they're going to have in year one. But because they're playing in the Big 12, because I think they're going to be a much better football team than a lot of the teams around them, with a lot more excitement and great fan support. Like, the fans really show up to support them, especially when they're good. And even when they're not good, they just show up and take their shirts off. I really like what this Oklahoma State team is doing, and I really think they're going to be really good next year.
I love the pick. 5.5 feels criminal to Eric Morris, the coaching jobs that he's done. Maybe you can look this up, Garrett. Has he ever won less than 6 games as a head coach? I feel like he made a bowl.
I have to see.
Unless I'm remembering a down first year at North Texas. I don't remember him
Do a
winning
little
less
bit of
than
the
a
looking
bowl.
on that one. But yeah, it feels like he's always been really good. And then,
Yeah.
again, combine it with the fact that, you're not losing a lot out of your system. I joke that they're like the Mean Orange now because, they literally are bringing back that much in terms of what they had at UNT last year to now. So it looks like I'm looking here. First couple years, it was 5-7, 6-7, and then 11-2. So definitely a jump there.
Okay. Yeah.
But I mean,
But I knew he was like bowl. I think maybe they made a bowl that year as a
and the rosters
got
had been
invited.
pretty bad.
Right.
And
Yeah.
and the hard thing too is a lot of times at that level you are just kind of waiting on a quarterback who can do it all. So again, maybe like Oklahoma State, they jump up and Mestemaker's not all that good when he gets up there at the Big 12 level. Sure, maybe. I don't know that the Big 12 is necessarily known for playing elite defense, so maybe pump the brakes on that one. But yeah, I think that this is really doable for them. I think this will be I think it'll be a manageable year for a lot of the folks there in Stillwater.
Oklahoma State might have this locked up by the end of October. I'm going to read their opening schedule. It's at Tulsa, which you never want to play at a G5 team, but always tricky.
And it's a close, and there's a lot of heated, and I think they won that game last year. So
yeah, and so that's going to be interesting. Oregon coming to town, that's probably not going to be a win, but then you get Murray State at West Virginia, UCF at home, at Houston, another difficult game, but then Colorado at home and Iowa State, a team that was just decimated by the portal and has a brand new head coach. I think that you could find you could see them at 6-2 after Halloween, and that would be really, really great for
and
year
then
one.
Get a little bit of momentum with you, get a little bit of belief there, right? You get things rolling. I mean, Texas Tech comes to town. Texas Tech's a very good football team, but Texas Tech coming to Stillwater, that could be a real passionate type of game where there's just a lot of fans going crazy. You get to host Kansas to end the season, so there's some games that can definitely be won there in the back end too. So it's I think it'll be a fun year for them. I think they get back to a bowl game for sure. So give me the over for them.
I'm going with Houston as my team to hit their over. Their line is 7.5, and another team that the betting odds are way in favor of the over. So I'm not really going out on a huge limb here if you just look at the odds, but the schedule's a little tougher than it was last year. Last year, obviously, getting to 10 wins was huge, counting the bowl game. I think they're going to be right there contending for the Big 12 yet again with all the talent that they're bringing back. Host Oregon State Southern and go to Georgia Southern. Very interesting non-conference road trip, but those should be 3 wins. In conference play, they do play at Texas Tech. That's going to be an uphill battle, to say the least. They go to host Oklahoma State, like we said a little bit ago, and go to Manhattan and to Salt Lake City. But other than that, the conference schedule is very manageable. So if you can just find a way to split those 2 road games where there's a brand new head coach, 2 very difficult environments to play in at Bill Snyder Family Stadium and Rice Eccles Stadium. But if you can find a way to split those with your veteran laden team and veteran coaching staff against 2 first-year, first-time head coaches on the road, I think you're going to see Houston and Arlington. I think that it will be a rematch with Texas Tech most likely. And I'm really excited to see what the Cougars can do to follow up that awesome season. Speaking of the Red Raiders, Garrett, they are one of 2 teams in the entire country that you have to bet if they go undefeated or not. They and Notre Dame are over under at 11.5. And if you look at both of their schedules, you will see why the betting odds. They're going to be 2 really great teams on the field, but their schedules not challenging.
Yeah, not going to be much of a challenge for either of them.
Well, take us to your under.
Yeah, my under is going to be Baylor on this one. Again, kind of betting against a team who I don't think he'll have a head coach partway through the season. I don't know if they do because honestly, they're probably way overdue for firing Aranda anyways. So maybe they're just going to stay with him way longer than they should. I made this joke last time, but wouldn't be the first time they stayed with the head coach much farther into his life as a head coach than he probably should have. Maybe for different reasons, obviously. But no, I don't think that playing Auburn in Atlanta is a very nice proposition for Baylor to start the year. Especially, all the excitement, new head coach, all the stuff going on with Auburn. You get Prairie View and Louisiana Tech. Okay. You have Colorado. That's probably winnable. But on the schedule at Arizona State, TCU, you got to play, at BYU. You get to host the Butt Bowl, but that's still Texas Tech. You play Houston, and I don't believe in Baylor. I just don't believe in what they're doing this year. I know that there's going to be a lot of excitement. You bring in the new quarterback. He's the Texas kid. You got a little bit of a legacy situation with Lagway, but I didn't really think that he did that much to make a case for himself when he was at Florida. Like, he's got loads of talent, so it's in there. It's possible. But man, haven't we said that about Baylor quarterbacks before, and about how talented they should be, and about how, they figure out a couple of things, and we said that about DeQuan Finn. We said that about Sawyer. Like, we've said that about a lot of quarterbacks, and it just hasn't panned out. I don't think they're going to have a very good roster. They might end up scraping the bottom of the barrel this year. There's a lot of teams that you could say, well, there's going to be bad teams in the Big 12, so they might be able to beat them. I think there's a lot of the bad teams in the Big 12. They're going to be looking at Baylor like, all right, well, there's a chance to get a win, right? I think it's going to kind of go both ways. So, yeah, I just don't think I can go with Baylor on this one. And the number 2, what they have him at was, 6.5? Making a bowl game feels like a stretch for the Baylor Bears this year.
Yeah, I was shocked that it was 6.5. That you have to decide if they're going to not just make a bowl game, but comfortably make a bowl game with 7 wins.
Make it to 7 and 5. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm right there with you on taking the under there with the Baylor Bears. I'm going to go with Utah for my under pick here. I know that there's a lot of continuity, and that's going to help a new first-time coach, right? Morgan Scaley, I know, has been the head coach in waiting for so long, and they finally make the move. It seems like Kyle Whittingham, obviously he took another job, so he was not ready for them to make that move. He was not done yet, but Morgan Scaley will have to come in and also have a new offensive coordinator. So it's going to be a lot of transition. Yes, they have Devin Dampier to still build the offense around. If they can build the entire ship out of his legs, great. I think that Utah could be off and running, for lack of a better term, again. But I'm a little concerned about the sustainability of that 2 years in a row, and just the general new coach vibes. First-time head coach, little uneasy about that. So for me to have to take them, what was their line? It was 8.5. So I would have to take a first-time ever head coach to go 9-3 in the Big 12. Just too many landmines, man. 8-4 would be a solid season for year one, and I don't think there'd be anything to hold their heads about with that.
Yeah, and the hard thing too is there's a lot of confidence coming out of Utah right now, and they love the situation they're in. This feels a little bit like rose-colored glasses right now, and Look, I've got nothing but love for Utah. If you've been a fan of the show for any amount of time, you know that I am not a Utah hater. It feels a little bit like rose-colored glasses. I would expect at least a couple bumps in the road before we kind of get this thing on the tracks with your new head coach.
Let's go with our to the moon picks. Garrett, I'll share mine first here. I'm going with Arizona, and it's another situation. I said it in the Big Ten when I was betting on Washington. Noah Fifita is still an Arizona Wildcat, and he has, turned through several receivers. Obviously, Teteroa McMillan was the big name a couple years ago. They replaced him last year. They bring in a whole new crop of receivers in the transfer portal to help Noah Fifita out. I think this could be an awesome chance for him to go out swinging. He has a lot of talent around him. Brent Brennan, I was very critical of the hire, and then he found a way to get Arizona to a 9-3 regular season and still in contention for the Big 12 title on the last week of the season last year. So I'm going with Arizona. I'll swing my shot. I'll take a flyer bet to try to go to the moon on the back of what should be one of the better quarterbacks in the entire Big 12.
I like the pick. I'm a little bit nervous to make my pick because, Trey, I want to take one of your ex-darlings, so I know it was a little bit of a messy breakup.
Don't do it.
I know it was a messy breakup, Trey. I know.
And I'm still calling her. I call her like every other weekend, unfortunately.
Look, I know she was talking about it. I'm taking Kansas State to the moon here. Look, I might be the one to fall on the landmine this year with Kansas State. I think they probably have a really good year. Now, I will throw a little bit of a caveat out here. I think Kansas State will inexplicably lose a game because of a knuckleheaded play call at a critical moment. I think it's going to happen. However, Colin Klein is a very good offensive mind and will win you more games than he probably loses you. It's just hard to see that, like, maybe they're playing at Colorado, right? They have that Colorado at Halloween, maybe the moon's, full moon or something like that. And we got a weird situation going on in Boulder, and, you're down on the 1 yard line, and it's obvious you should just run the football. You've got 400 yards rushing on the night. He's like, nah, screen time, baby. Let's go. And it's just going to be a little Colin Klein special on the goal line. But again, a little bit of the teasing aside for some of the interesting decisions made in College Station, he's still a very good offensive mind. He's obviously, darling of their university, right? The prodigal son has returned home. I think he's going to have him playing pretty freaking good football this year. So, give me to the moon on Kansas State. Schedule's manageable. There's some tough games on the schedule, but it's a manageable schedule. They don't catch Texas Tech, which is obviously really nice. They got Arizona State on the schedule. They got Houston on the schedule. They got Oklahoma State on the schedule. That's kind of where it stops being tricky for me. They got Washington State and Tulane in the out of conference, but I think those are both pretty winnable games. Think it could be a good year for Kansas State.
Man, that Kansas State Tulane rivalry is just heating up over the last few years.
It really is.
They don't play in Ireland this year, so they've got that going for them. They don't have a service academy on the schedule, so things are looking up for my dear old Wildcats. Good. I'll probably be right there with you. I just love that you're an Avery Johnson believer. Welcome to the.
I didn't say that. Okay, I didn't say that.
General suffering.
Look, if we know one thing, Colin Klein can get the most out of a running style quarterback who at times struggles to throw a football accurately.
Yeah.
We know that this is true.
11-1 and then not use his legs on the goal line in a massive situation. So
it's not the right time.
Looking forward to that. Looking forward to that. Some interesting numbers around the Big 12 before we move on to the ACC. Iowa State at 5.5. Very interesting with their new coach situation as well. I didn't want to touch Kansas or Arizona State with a 10-foot pole because they are going to play in London, not in week 0, but in the middle of the season. I think that is stupid. I'll just say it. I think it's like September 17th, and it's the week after Arizona State plays in College Station. They go straight from College Station to London, I guess. Good luck finding a direct flight out of Easterwood, fellas. But I think that makes them just complete wild cards. Yeah. How do you handle that transition over to London and then all the way back to your respective time zones?
They get a bye week.
Okay. So
that's still a lot. No, you're totally right. Having to go. And the crazy thing is, I think I'd almost rather have like a bye week followed by or like the game in London followed by a home game, as opposed to having to go like on the road, then immediately turn it around and go to London. That's crazy.
Yeah, I can't remember Kansas's schedule, but Arizona State, how long are they going to be away from their own beds?
I mean,
Man?
yeah,
Like
seriously. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah,
like
Kansas, they get Missouri the week before.
at
So
home.
not exactly an easy one to lead into that game.
No, yeah, and
They
you're
got some
going to be
late nights
worried
for that
about.
coaching staff, man. We might need to check in on some union laws or like labor things. Like they might be breaking some labor laws,
There's going to be some interns worried about passports and just all kinds of crazy things when Arizona State and Kansas have massive out of conference games the week before. Yeah, so I'm out on just any prognostication on either of those teams. BYU struck me as very interesting, a little low at 8.5. I think that's an interesting number, especially since the under is the line favorite there.